All right, so for 7.2 is our final, our last section we did monomial by monomial, so one term by one term. For this section, we're going to just multiply, but we're going to have a binomial or trinomial or polynomial times one term. And we're going to challenge ourselves. But before we even start to figure out what we want to do, we're going to see that there's actually two ways to solve an equation like this. So in this equation, we have 2 plus 3 and 5. And we know that when we put two things in brackets beside each other, what's happening is we're multiplying them. Now, the first way that we've been taught to solve is, well, we solve what's in the brackets first. So 2 plus 3 is 5. And then 5 times 5 is 25. That would be my answer. But the problem is, if we can't solve what's in the brackets, we're going to have to use something called distributive property, or we're going to distribute. Now this I call fancy term for rainbow it in. We're going to rainbow it. So I'm going to take the 5, which is the single term, and I'm going to rainbow it to every number that's in there. And when we're doing that, we still have to remember we're multiplying. So it's going to be 5 times the first term and 5 times the second term. And so in this case, 5 times 2 is 10, and 5 times 3 is 15. And when I add those up, I get 25, which is the exact same answer that I had when I solved the brackets in the first place. The problem is, when we have exponents and we have variables, we can't solve what's in here first. We're going to have to distribute. So let's look at our first question here. We've got 4x times 2x minus 1. And so we're going to use that rainbow right now. I'm going to take this 4x single term, and I'm going to rainbow it into the first term. And we know when you do that, we multiply. And then I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to rainbow it into the second term, and we multiply. Now remember, just like combining like terms, we are going to take the sign that's in front of it. So I've split them up into their two terms. So the first one here, 4x times 2x, I'm going to rewrite that. 4x times 2x is the first multiplication. And we know that, okay, well, we combine the two numbers. 4 times 2 is 8. And we combine the variables that are the same. This is x times x, which is x squared. So that's what we get from the first term. And then we're going to do the next one. And we're going to take 4x times negative 1. All right, well, 4x times negative 1 is going to equal, well, the 4 and the 1 are combined because they're numbers. 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. And there's no other variable to combine the x with, so it just tags along. And then all we do is we combine these two. So this is going to be 8x squared plus negative 4x. Now, we did learn that having two of these is unnecessary. All right, unless this is a minus and this is a minus, we can actually simplify this. This can be 8x squared minus 4x because they mean the exact same thing. And that's going to be our answer. So if we do it for the same one down here, we have the exact same thing, except the term is at the back. So we're going to rainbow it into the first term and rainbow it into the next term. And remember, multiplying to each term. I'm going to block out the terms so we know what we're multiplying with. I'm going to start with the first one. We're going to go 5x times 4y, which is going to be 5 times 4, 20. And x times y, well, we can't. Those are two different variables. It's just going to be x times y. And then that's done. Now we do the next one. We multiply 5x by negative 3. Well, the numbers go together. 5 times negative 3 is negative 15. And there's just an x. There's nothing to combine it with. And now we just put these two numbers together. 20xy plus negative 15x. And remember, we don't want to have two symbols here. We're just going to simplify it. 20xy minus 15x is my final answer. And that's how we would solve a monomial times a binomial. Now, it can also get trickier, and we can do it times a trinomial. It's going to be the exact same thing. So, for example, if I have 2a times 4x plus 5 minus 3y, the exact same thing is going to happen. We're just going to rainbow it to every single term. And we would solve that way. It would just take a little bit more work.